Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Tonight I want to share with you one of my recent thought processes around value assessment for the assets within Splinterlands. I'm looking at different cards and I'm trying to ascertain whether one card is valuable and worth investing in or another has potential for price appreciation. And one of the ways that I'm using, one of the tools that I'm using to, I guess, formulate my opinions on that conversation is Summoner Lab. SummonerLab.com is a tool that I use regularly. It's one that I like a lot. You see me talking about it on some of the live streams. I like when I'm choosing to rent a summoner, one of the quick things I'll do is I'll pop in here and I'll just click on summoners and I'll choose the league that I play at. And I'll just ascertain which ones have the highest win rate. And the data is rolling. It's not permanent. The data is like, I think he told me it was, he holds 2 weeks worth of data and then it lets it go and then holds 2 weeks. So that rolling average is going to give you a variety of figures. So sometimes the amount of play, the number of battles are quite low, and therefore the win rates can be unreliable because the smaller the sample size, the more room for error in the example, in the study. So you have to take it with a grain of salt sometimes when the battles are low, but I still love coming in here and I will decide, oh, okay, I'm playing one of my alt accounts and it's in silver. At silver, I don't know what the league necessarily looks like, but this data tells me right now there's a lot of people who are winning with Prince Rin. Well, not a lot, but Prince Rin wins when he plays for the most part, 75% of the time out of the 24 battles. And I might not trust that data because that's too small of a sample size. But let's see this one, 226 wins or battles, 71% win rate. This data with this amount of battles is very reliable in my opinion. And that tells me at that level of play, we're in silver. This is a very successful summoner. More successful than Jotun, surprisingly. So that's the sort of thing I want to know before on a day when I log in and I've got a couple hours to play the game and I'm feeling serious and I want to rent a card to really push myself over the edge. I come to this site and I look at this data so that I can decide which, given the daily focus I'm stuck with, what cards are going to move the needle. This is data I love to look at. And today in this video, this is what I do on my streams. But today in this video, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to look at some of the win rates as an indicator of potential investments for the future. And so, of course, it would be great to look at summoners and to look at the win rates and then go out and buy copies and copies and copies of the highest win rate summoners. That's going to be an expensive investment because summoners are really expensive. Even the quicks, the devious, which is, the deal on this page, is still $17 per BCX. So I'm not talking about that. I'm just going here. I'm going to erase the summoner data. I'm going to erase legendaries. And I just want to see, actually, let's go through commons. I want to see which commons have the highest win rates. And of those commons, which ones are dirt cheap? Because there's going to be situations like this, perhaps, and where the win rate is really high and the cost is very low or affordable. Let's call it affordable, because saying it's really low implies I believe it's going to go up. I'm not saying the cards I'm looking at are going to go up. What I'm saying is I'm using this data to prove to myself and to the viewer that the cards I'm considering are valuable. They have intrinsic value, meaning they help you in the game. They actually add utility and they allow you to win more often, which is going to produce all kinds of benefits. And then if the price is relatively low as compared to some of the equivalents out there, then maybe it's a great investment. That's the question. And we're going to spend the rest of the time just looking through these cards and just trying to see if we can't find a few bargains that I would perceive as bargains, because I've got a couple million DC. Maybe I could snag a couple things. Sunkai Harvester, 70% win rate. That's exceptional. 3 cents. sounds like an amazing deal. I bet it's only being played a few times. Wow, interesting. That's actually quite a few battles. And for it to have 70% win rate. Now, what league are we looking at? This is silver. That's interesting though, because silver is where a lot of people play. And so it seems to me, if that's having a high win rate at that level, that might actually be worth buying. You know, silver common would mean, I think, I'm going to quickly pop over here. Let me see. Let me go like this. Go buy Sunkai. So to get to silver of a common, you could play level 5. You need 60 copies. 60 copies times 3 cents. So I could buy, I mean, the high bid price is the same as the low buy price. Also, that's really interesting. Whenever that happens, that means to me that the low buy price is reasonable, because the high bid is usually substantially lower. So it feels like this is a very fair price, is what I'm saying. And I'm actually going to buy some of this. Like, I'm tempted to buy that even. Look at that, $8 for practically a max level. I actually think that this card is interesting at like a 60, at like a silver league level more than a champion league level. But let's have a quick peek at the sun. I'm definitely buying that one first though. I'm gonna buy the first page. They're all 3 cents. Something's not right. One of them disappeared or something, maybe. Let's quickly refresh it. Probably one of those disappeared and then something about the market got confused. See, even the gold foils are really, really cheap. How many do you need to get the silver? You need 5. I'm going to do that instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. I just bought that. Oh, I see. Because it's D. Cunningham. And I don't have money on D. Cunningham. So this is the equivalent of 15 BCX. And I'm going to buy that and just merge those together and rent them eventually if I have to, or use them on some of the alt accounts I'm creating. And again, that's based on this data. Good win rate at silver. It's interesting when you can find, if one next step of diving deeper on analyzing the data would be to look at how it does at other league levels. At bronze, it's got a 42% win rate with fewer battles. This is partially reflective of the ability changes at the lower level, but also you have to imagine it's also reflective of the fact that at bronze, it's a crapshoot who wins, because you've got, you know, standard starter case on the opponent side and your side. It's a crapshoot. So, and Magic can be quite powerful at bronze. I mean, Magic's powerful at every level, but Sunkai is obviously in trouble if he runs into Magic. So it's important to look at that when you're looking at the data and trying to speculate about future value appreciation. I would argue that the bronze data is not as complementary. Let's see what the gold looks like. 55% win rate at the gold. How many battles? Only 40 battles. That's quite minimal. Diamond, 40% win rate, only 10 battles. This card is going to benefit from the new summoner. That's interesting. I don't know if that's being priced in yet. This might sound like I came to this video with all kinds of expectations about the Sunkai Harvester, and as if I had a whole line of thinking planned to share with you around why this is a great deal and why you should rush out and buy it. It's not intended to be so. I did not look at the data on this sheet on this page before I began recording. But just noticing that win rate of 70% and actually having a meaningful number of battles and knowing that silver is a place where a lot of people play, that makes me confident in the future rental prospect of those gold foils I just bought. I just bought 3 gold foil copies at silver for this thing. And that's where it's strongest. But I think this thing will be more impactful at gold and diamond after we get Wraith, because that's the new legendary summoner from the white that's going to turn all armor into void armor. So maybe this is one of those moments where this is like a really inexpensive card that benefits from a synergistic buff from a new summoner that's coming out. Maybe. Regardless, I think it's one that merits my attention. I'm not going to buy that big one though. I'm going to buy the first page of the regulars. A few copies, you know? 3 cents is practically nothing. And so let's keep going. I'm not going to buy necessarily every card I find that has a great win rate. But silver is an interesting place to look at the data, first of all. And right now we're only looking at commons. But commons are going to be those cards that are usually the cheapest. The ones that are going to be 1 penny, 2 pennies, 5 pennies. And where I think you're going to see the maximum opportunity for price appreciation over 3, 4, 5 years. Because those 1 cent cards, as they merge, you need 400 copies of them to make a max copy. That's going to actually eliminate a huge amount of circulating supply across a long enough time horizon. And that's why cards like Flesh Golem have really appreciated over time. Minotaur's got 78% with only a 20 cent, only 18 battles though. I like this card. I have this card. I like it up here where it gets that 3rd attack, and it's missing 1 of hit point, but you know, you need 200 less copies, so that's certainly beneficial. So I'm going to close. I'm not going to buy that. I want to see high win rate. Ooh, there you go, dude. Okay, now it's $2, but 71% win rate with 3,000 battles. Dude, this is a huge amount of battles. This is really, really significant. Like even the summoners don't necessarily play that many battles. Even a rare summoner that like Kelia might play, like if we quickly look, we go rare summoners, Kelia, 8,000 battles at silver. So, I mean, that's a summoner that everyone has. And you're telling me that Earth Monster has 3,300? Dude, in the last 2 weeks, remember. So this is a high utility card. $2 is not cheap. But maybe it's worth it to... It's a common. Maybe it's worth it to get like the 12 BCX version. You're going to get that 2 magic. Obsidian's going to make it 3. It's a bit slow. It's a bit slow. It's a bit weak, but you know, position it wisely and maybe that's going to be good enough. Use it with Queen Mycelia so you get fortification protection on it. Clearly it's a powerful card. $2 is not inexpensive though. You 12 of those. I said 12 BCX times $2 is 24 bucks. Quickly have a look at that. I think it's called Goblin Sorcerer. This is what I'm going to do over the next days, weeks, and months as the game continues to kind of take its sweet time and maybe the bear market settles in. And this is the sort of deep dive that one does if you believe in Splinterlands and if you want to extract maximum value for your investment dollar. You're trying to analyze all angles that are possible that are from the information in front of you and available to you to really make the most informed decision on how to invest your dollar. And this is a card you're going to be able to enjoy. It synergizes well, like we said with the last card, the Sunkai Harvester, and how it's going to synergize with the new legendary life summoner Wraith or whatever his name is. The Goblin Sorcerer synergizes really well with Obsidian, the new rare summoner for the Earth team, getting that magic buff and then doing that sneak attack 3 sneak attack magic damage at silver. Oh, no wonder it's got a 71% win rate. And look at this, 73 cents per BCX if you buy 52 of them. And 52 of them is going to compete at, well, it's going to be a max copy for you at silver. So for 38 bucks, and it's going to be a playable, that's actually a gold level. 5 is your max in silver, I think. There's several copies here. 25 bucks if you want just a silver version. Even $5. That's pretty tempting. See, that at the lowest level, it's only going to get that 1 attack. I really think it needs to be at least level 4. Let's look what the data says. Oops. So at bronze, it's got 90 battles with 64% win rate. At gold, it's far less successful, but still it's got a good positive win rate. Even at diamond, dude, this is a legit card. This is smaller data, but that's still substantial enough to qualify as a niche contributor. 62 battles is not nothing. 500 battles is pretty meaningful. So I would say like everywhere from bronze, well, specifically a real thriving at silver and decent success at gold. And again, if that was interesting and that price point was, reasonable to you, and you play at silver or gold, then you would just go look at the marketplace and just try to decide, do I want to spend 30, 40 bucks and get that? It's a great card. I have a copy of it on one of my accounts. I'm tempted to get one back for Infidel, but just not right now. Not right now. Let's keep looking. This is going to be a long video if I keep scrolling, but this is just to show you the sort of, I can't show you, I won't make this a 5-hour video, but I do this for hours a day on my own without recording. And this is just to show you what that looks like so that you can hopefully do it on your own. Barking Spider is interesting because it's got a low price and a high win rate. Look how many plays. Decent amount of games at the silver level. At the gold, a really high win rate also, but fewer battles. Still enough battles to make it worthwhile. Diamond. Ooh, still a really high win rate. That blind, I think, right? I love this card. I remember when this card was, I think, about a penny each BCX, and I remember this is a reward card, and it was done. Like it was wrapping up. The circulation of the card was about to complete, and I thought, oh man, I better buy 400 of them to max out my card, and then it spiked significantly, and I'm super glad I did. Great card. And you can see some of the synergies because that blind goes really well with the mercenary, which allows him to be more resilient, letting him stay alive longer, which lets you stay alive longer. And with 8 hit points for 4 mana, it's like almost a secondary tank. Yeah, very cool. Very, very worthwhile. If you don't have the Barking Spider, I'd suggest checking it out. Gold might be a bit expensive. Look at this, only 35 bucks for a max copy. Very strong card. Okay. Keep looking. Let's try and find 2 more. Two more that I think merit serious consideration. I mean, Pelican Mercenary. Let's not even count that though, because I've been saying Pelican Mercenary for months and months. This card is must have. It's too cheap. It's too successful. Get it. Buy extra copies of it. I have thousands of copies of this card. The Sea Genie is another example of how a common card can exponentially appreciate. This used to be half a penny when I used to buy and sell them, or the game really blew up, and that was while it was being given away as a reward card. Now it's out of circulation and it's 100 times more expensive. Yep. And it's a very powerful card. It was then and it is now. At the higher levels, this thing has some serious abilities. If you check out the high diamond, it's got the strengthen and the flight, 3 damage, 4 speed, 6 hit points. It's a great card. It's even got a huge win rate at diamond. That's wild. That win rate is substantial at gold, diamond, silver, not so much at bronze, interestingly. But if you are an investor, maybe buy a silver copy or a gold copy. Looks like that's where it really thrives. 2,200 battles at silver, 500 at gold. Very strong card, very strong. But 50 cents is probably a bit rich for my blood. You know, if I'm looking for long-term investment, trying to get the 20, 50, 100x price appreciations, I'm not really looking at cards that are 50 cents or $1. I'm looking at cards that are a penny or maybe 9 cents. You know, less than 10 cents. Unless it's like a ridiculous win rate. Like the win rate is 65% and it's 16 cents. And like, I mean, look at this. This is really tempting. 16 cents, win rate 65% across 7,000 battles at silver. This thing dominates the silver board. And actually it does well in bronze. See, this is very tempting. You get 30 or 40 copies, you play this thing in silver, and it's going to be a really competitive contributor. And you're talking, yeah, I'm going to buy one more of that. So what's that B? Let's go B again. Is called Nectar Queen. I have a copy, but I don't have a copy for every account by any stretch. The imagination. Whoa, easy there. So look, max copy. This is tempting. 220. See, I don't really want to spend. Okay, I'm gonna buy this one though. I'll buy these two. Yeah, this is really tempting. If you play at a high level and you don't have this card, I say come in here and buy one of these, because obviously this thing is a real competitor at the lower levels there. Look at it, 7,000 battles at silver. Both of those cards I just bought are low level gold, but if I put them on any of my accounts that I scholar out, it's going to really help them thrive in silver. 65% win rate, and they will probably climb into gold as long as I give them the CP using a silver deck. And then it's going to be less effective, but it's going to get them out of silver into gold. It's going to be a really great card to have. Let's look for one more. And this will be our common, and then we'll come through and we'll look at rare and epic and legendary at another time. Bloodmaker's down to a penny. The win rate, not special enough. I mean, the win rates now are like, we're now below 50% on these win rates. I'm not convinced I would want to keep looking, but maybe there'll be something that'll surprise me down here. This is interesting. 31% win rate. I mean, I think you guys are using this card wrong. Because like when I play this card, I win. There you go. A diamond, it gives you 60% win rate. At gold, 50%. Now you get redemption in gold. So you need the redemption. Yeah, this is you definitely want it up at the 100 BCX where it's going to get that redemption. And then if you could play this in the right context with, you know, Dr. Blight, who has Weaken, you know, Cryptomancer, who has Weaken, or Thaddeus, I think is the new rare summoner for the death team, and he has Weaken, and then, you know, you can do the redemption Weaken play that is very successful, and that's probably why it has 60%. So, you know, sometimes you got to take the data with a grain of salt. Like 31% win rate, only because it doesn't yet have a redemption. As soon as you get the redemption, it goes from 31% to 50 and all the way up to 60 in the right context. Yeah, I was looking at the commons in the context of silver. Let's quickly have a peek at gold, see how that transforms the landscape. Ooh, 83% win rate with the Ever Hungry Skull. Only 12 battles though. Only 2 battles. These cards aren't yet even properly being utilized, I would argue. These 2 cards are so cheap, and ignore the win rate because it's like it's too small of a size, a population, a sample size for the data to be, you know, reliable. But the point is, this is an interesting card in the right context, and no one, there must be one dude who's using this card at the gold level, and it's got thorns, guys. It has 11 hit points and thorns in melee from any position, in super sneak, in little league. This is a great card to have, and it's obviously gonna just crush these like little. And then amplify on top of it, guys, because there's, you know how often we throw out amplify nowadays. Add amplify to that with one of your teammates and change the landscape of the battlefield. 83% at gold, 60% at diamond. Like, this is a strong card, but you can't trust the data because there's too few population. Like, no one's playing this card, and that's why it's a penny. And let's finish with the Ever Hungry Skull, because we could keep going and going and going, and this could literally be a multi-hour video for just commons, because you'd have to look at bronze and silver and gold and diamond and really unpack how the data evolves, and maybe it's worth buying a card at silver level BCX and not any higher, or maybe at gold, or maybe at diamond, because that's sometimes how this game works. But one thing I want to leave you with before we close the video is that the idea that sometimes cards are just cheap because people don't yet understand how to use them, the right context. And as that knowledge grows, someone starts to define the utility of a card by using it in such a way that wins. And when win rates get into the 80 percentiles, and if it works 12 times this season, but maybe 20 next season, and maybe 200 the following, because people start catching on, that's when the game starts to be redefined by certain new abilities and cards and synergies. And I'm not saying Ever Hungry Skull is going to redefine the meta, but it's super important if you want to get ahead of the meta changes. If you want to invest in certain cards before they blow up in price, it's important that you think through the utility and value of a card before others do. And noticing things like this big win rate with a small sample size and asking, would that work at scale? And hey, I play in gold. This season, I'm going to make a concerted effort to use this thing and see if I can really make it win. And I'm going to track on a piece of paper, I'm going to track my own wins with the Ever Hungry Skull. And then come back in 2 weeks and be like, okay, that was legit. That really worked. That crushed. And it really was a 70-80% win rate. And then that means that this is ridiculous. That would mean that 1 cent per BCX is a ridiculous price. Buy. Or through that study and that example, that case study, you might find, nah, it really is kind of niche and it's only going to work in certain contexts, and those don't come up enough. And maybe the answer is, at the end of the day, you know, I don't really care if it's cheap. I don't really want it. It's not going to give me a lot of extra value. But that's the thinking I want you guys to bring to the table when you're looking at any of these cards, and especially the ones that are a penny or smaller than that, because those are the ones that if they get some traction and if they start being incorporated, because they start being played, like the fact that this is not being played at all tells me there's probably literally one person who's trying this thing out. And that's not good enough. Like, these cards have utility. I know this card is utility because it works a lot like the Enchanted Defender, which I use and win with all the time. And what's the Enchanted? That's another thing you could do. You could go over and look at the Enchanted Defender or the similar card and notice this thing's got a 57% win rate at gold with a substantial amount of battles, which is a great win rate and a great amount in a fair amount of battles. It is quite kind of niche. But when it participates in the equal opportunity or the melee mayhem, this thing is a contributor, a meaningful contributor. And how much is it? It's not a penny per card. It's 93 cents per card. And so that I'm actually going to go buy some Ever Hungry Skulls, because that's what I do. I assess value using the tools and information available, so that I can stretch my investment dollar, so that I can maximize my rewards for my time and attention in this amazing blockchain-based video game. And let's buy... Can I buy 200? Let's just... If they're all like roughly a penny, they are too. Yeah, they're all a penny, dude. Yes, please. That was 3,000 DEC. That's ridiculous. Okay. And then I'll buy some goldies too. I want 38 of these. That's 50. Make it so. Yeah, I mean, that's just a card I'm convinced I'm going to want. And I think I've explained why. Guys, use this tool. Summoner Lab is an amazing tool. This data is really, really helpful. And don't take my word for it on these cards that I've focused in on, but come through on your own at whatever league you're working at and look at diamond or silver or bronze and find those cards with the crazy high win rates, and make sure you take it with a grain of salt. Chain Spinner 100%. Only played twice, so don't rush out and buy that one up, but think through. You know, does that make sense? Is this really that good? Some of the data is just, you know, inflated. But think through in the strategic and thoughtful manner that I've displayed in this video, so that you can identify great value before others do, and stretch and grow your investment dollar here as fast and as well as I have over the last 3-4 years. Moving into the next 3 or 4 years. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Have an amazing day. God bless.